I'm very pleased to share with you guys today my case study of Quantum Scale Institute. This was an 18-month project where they brought me into 3x revenues. They were struggling because they broke the funnel. Basically, they had a growth hack that was working and then it stopped working and needed support. So their offer was a marketing mastermind. They help their clients grow their businesses, mostly targeting B2B small businesses, but they needed to reestablish the funnel. So you can see here, we 4x our revenues in 14 months, beating our 3x goal. I can show you exactly how. This is the old funnel they were running. They were having success and then it broke. They brought me in May 2024. And you can see they were doing about 54,000 at the time. And that winter, we got them about to 3x. And then by June, all the way up here to 4x. So really pleased with that result. And a big contributing factor to that was we improved the product. When I started with them, they were just a mastermind, one-to-many, group coaching, meeting a few times a week to help their clients implement. And what I did was I built out an SOP for a done-with-you process that over a month and a half, we helped them set up their entire funnel. So very detailed process so that this could be handed off to their team and maintained, getting an understanding of their business, putting together an outline of the webinar, which is a core part of their funnel, putting together the promotional materials, even the copywriting. So baked into this process, not only did the clients now have a strategy coach, but a copywriting coach that could write them their copy, tech to handle all the tech setup, and a lot more value to the funnel so that we could go up market, so we could charge more. And you can see before they even started with me, 2022, they were about 5,000 per sale. And then 2023, not too much difference, a little bit of a bump towards the end of the year because I started in May and then we implemented these new processes. Then 2024, we axed the old offer. So midway through the year, we stopped selling it. That got us to double our prices. And then 2025, triple the starting price. That was huge. At the time, that basically doubled the revenues for the company. Now, another big part of this was optimizing the funnel. They were running the same webinar that they were teaching to their clients. But as you can see, their very own webinar, they're getting about 250 people to show up, which is great, but only 10 to 15 book calls. It's about a 5% booking rate. That's not great. I knew that could be improved. So by the end of this, we got to a 10% booking rate. And the way that we did that is here's their old presentation, pretty basic. Yes, this looks a little bit better, but the key thing here is we did a lot better job of explaining what their process is. And then ultimately, the most important part is getting them to get excited about the product so that when we ask them to book a call, they actually take action. It's about taking someone from being somewhat problem aware to then being abundantly aware of the problem, solution aware that there's a different way of solving it, to product aware that, hey, Quantum Scale might be the company for me. And if that's done effectively in the span of a webinar, you can get someone who doesn't even know you to ready to buy their product. That's how we doubled their booking rate. Another big thing was on their sales team, their founder was a salesperson, which is great. He had a corporate background, so he could have a very consultative approach to his sales. And the two closers that were on the team at the time were using a script that was very much a pitch. They would spend about 15 minutes, not even, maybe even 10 minutes getting to know the client, and then go into a very one-directional pitch. And you can see here with this diagram from Jeremy Miner, they were doing a lot more objection handling because so much of it was based around this presentation. And I've implemented a sales process like this with a number of clients where we focus a lot more on getting to know the prospects, qualifying them, helping them feel understood. And only when they're understood, presenting a solution, which they're very open to because you've built that level of trust. So scripting out what this whole looks like, the whole flow, working with the sales team, rehearsing with them, reviewing their calls to implement it, and then even developing a sales process for non-webinar attendees when we developed other funnels. So you can see we built out a different flow for that. And we put this in place in November of 2024, and you can see that coincide with a nice little bump in sales. Obviously, there are other things going on at the time, but I think the key thing was the sales team felt a lot more confident about how to close prospects. It was a more consistent, repeatable process. And then implementing all these changes, and obviously as the business grows, you take on more clients, you need a team to support it. So I was involved with the interviewing and hiring of every new team member, and you can see that we started at about 5 or 6 employees, and then towards the end of December of that first year, we started scaling up. And I think most importantly, we got to about 15 to 20 employees. They have now an executive team where it doesn't all fall to the founder to make big decisions and direct the company. Ultimately, my goal is to remove myself from the business so that all the growth and success can be maintained, which leads me to the last and maybe the thing I'm most proud of is freeing up the founder to get his time back. So I'll let him tell you for himself.
I stopped working Mondays. I'm like, that's one of my days with Andrea. Promise her to not put any meetings on Mondays.
So having the freedom to take a day off every week with his girlfriend, that's huge. Like, I'm very pleased with the financial results, but to make such an impact on his life is something I'm proud of. And if you have a business that you think is at a point where you're ready to grow, you have a great product, you have a great business, but you just need to get it out there, we can look at what are the growth levers in your business to implement these changes. And it's different for every company. It won't be the same as Quantum Scale. We'll look at your business in particular, figure out where can we go from here. I would love to meet you. Small businesses are some of my favorite clients to work with. So hope to speak with you soon.